Welcome to the Luxury Life Show, everyone. We have a very special guest today, Clara Zila. Hi, Clara. How are you?
Hi everyone.
Thank you so much for
Good
joining us,
morning or
Clara.
afternoon or evening.
Yes. So Clara has kindly agreed to join us today to talk about this very important topic that's been circulating on TikTok, on YouTube. And both Clara and I have very strong opinions about this. And because Clara also, she actually she lived in Hong Kong for 20 plus years now, right?
Almost
Lived,
20. Well,
worked.
it's actually 18 and a bit.
Okay,
So
close enough.
sorry, I close to 20 years. Yeah.
Right. So close enough. Right. You basically, were there for a long period of time. You bought a lot of luxury in that period of time, and you
Yeah.
recently just moved back to North America, to Vancouver, actually. So Clara has very, like, not only does she have the authority to talk about this because she actually lived and breathed over there in the
Yeah,
East. Um,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more thing I want to address before people ask. So Kat will join us today. We just don't know when because she is traveling right now. So I think she'll pop in at some point. But we'll just get started without her, and then whenever she chimes in, she drops in. Then we'll see her then. We also got a few of your questions from the audience on Instagram, so we'll go through some of your questions in general, or maybe towards the end of the live stream. But I want to get started with this topic, the topic of luxury made in China. So I drafted quite a few
Mm,
questions around this, and I'm just
okay.
going to show it. And then we can discuss about it. Especially, I know Clara has a lot to say about it. So, Clara, what do you think has triggered this recent whole trend, right? This wave of TikTok videos claiming that luxury bags,
Mm.
especially Hermes, right? Hermes being the pedestal of all luxury brands that are made in China. And why do you think the reaction has been so strong?
Okay, so if I think about, well, first of all, just to let people know, I've been living in Hong Kong, which is obviously now a part of China, for 18 years. And so I actually lived there. And in fact, China is just like a 15-minute fast train ride away. So I don't know, some of your work commutes or maybe even not like even 15 minutes, but that's how close we are to China. So you can actually cross the border, go to Shenzhen, and you're in a totally different part of China. So I just want to tell people that I actually live there, and that's how close China is, to let you know that, I was actually there, and a lot of from Amy and stuff, like we buy a lot of luxury, including myself in Hong Kong. So, what do I think triggered the recent wave of TikTok? So, first of all, if you don't know, TikTok is actually banned in China. I don't know if you know that. So, for example, even in Hong Kong, was supposed to be separate from China for 50 years after the handover. So Hong Kong was basically a British colony, and it was handed back to China in 1997. So even before I came back to Canada, I just came back last year, I did not have access to TikTok. Okay. I could not even access it when I came back to Canada on holiday, because I was still on the Apple Store in Hong Kong. So,
Mhm.
first of all, you need to understand that these TikTok videos that are being created and made in China are actually not accessible in China. So, the people who are looking at the TikToks is really addressed to the world, the Western world,
Yeah.
that has access to TikTok, and obviously US, right?
Yeah.
Canada. So I have access to TikTok now because I'm now permanently moved here. But in China, they will use Little Red Note, they use WeChat, or they'll use Douyin. So that is their version of TikTok, because there's actually like a firewall, like there's like a great firewall in China. They cannot access a lot of material outside of China because there's a huge firewall and it's controlled communication in the country. So if you really think about it, if they were willing to make this on TikTok, that means their target audience was Americans, maybe
Mm,
Canadians, or even the world outside of
like
China,
Europe,
Europe and
Europe,
stuff like. So they
Australia.
were probably looking to get business. Um, for those of you who don't work in the financial industry or close to China, the economy in China, even before the tariffs, was already really bad. Just, with the COVID and the lockdown, business has been coming down. If some of you are buying luxury, you probably notice prices are coming down, demand has been coming down. And that's due to the fact that the economy in China now is really bad. Like, let me just give you an example. Like some people's apartments, the value of their apartments could come down by 70, 80%. Okay, I'm not kidding you. Can you imagine
Mm,
the real estate you own is down 70, 80%? And in addition, due to the market downturn, people have lost their jobs. Okay, so they can't pay for their apartment. There are no bankruptcy rules in China. Maybe some of you don't know that. So if you say go bankrupt, you can't say I've gone bankrupt. You still need to pay back your loan. Okay.
mm,
So for these people who are advertising their product, they're trying to get business, obviously from the Western world because of the downturn in the economy, maybe also due to the tariffs. They're desperate to get business. So this is really catered to, the Western world and trying to attract business. Um, and so I think that's the motivation behind it. And if you go into like Douyin, Little Red Note, some of you understand Chinese, or WeChat, these type of ads advertising, like, kind of, counterfeit bags, there are so many of them.
yeah.
Like maybe in the Western world, you're seeing this for the first time. And, if you walk by like Chinatown, they're on the floor somewhere. But like, there are a lot of these ads all over China. So it's, maybe new to people in the Western world. And the ads are all the same. We use the same leather, we have the same workmanship, they have their factories here. So this is nothing new, okay? These ads have been around for as long as I've been in Hong Kong, for 20 years. Like I could go take the bullet train was not up then, but I could take a train, half an hour, go across the border. You could go to some mall, and like 20 years ago, China was more of an emerging market. And you can go in there, go into a back room, open the door, and there would be, at the time, Gucci and LV were really into it. It's like all over the floor, okay? And they define it like A grade, very well known, poor, like A to E, kind of like the quality. And it's like all over the floor. So it's nothing new, but,
Yeah.
I think why the reaction has been so strong is, I mean, these ads have been there forever, but maybe they've been in Chinese and they made ones in English, or maybe they had them in English, but like, I guess suddenly it's like people had like a permit to say, oh, why buy the expensive thing when I now can like buy the fake thing? And has anyone actually bought any of these? Have they looked and touched them? Like, have you even been to Asia? Have you
Mhm.
been to China? Like, have you been to those like little shops where, they have all those hidden purses at the back of a dark room or alley? And, when the customs and the police come by, obviously they have to like wrap up their stuff and go. And I mean, even in the 80s in Hong Kong, they used to have these bags. I don't know if Amy, you went to Hong Kong in the 80s, but like in the 80s and 90s, like in Noyan Gai, like the lady
Yeah.
street market, they used to even put them on the street because um back then, customs was not cracking as hard. But obviously, like if like at the end of the street, if there's a guy that says, hey, you know, there's a cop coming, you know, everybody just like
Yeah, he's
takes
like
their
the
bags
scout who's
and like,
literally
you know,
watching.
they flee and they go hide
Yeah.
them, because customs, like even to this day, even in Hong Kong, if you're caught with an illegal bag, you can go to jail or get fined for it. Like it's not like a free for all. Everybody knows this is, you know, I'm not saying that there isn't stuff made in China, but like definitely those Hermes bags, um, you know, a lot of the bags he even pulled out were fake, because, you know, I think he showed a croc or something, and then he showed another combo that isn't even Hermes. Like, you know,
Yeah.
even the ones he was showing was fake. So I don't think he actually said that it was an Hermes bag, but he was just saying, why would you pay so much? That kind of thing. But definitely, I think that for people who couldn't afford luxury, or if they could and they just wanted to buy the fake thing and to kind of like legitimize buying a fake bag, you know, like suddenly, you know, this video kind of like supports, you know, their claim that, oh, it's just cheap stuff, right? But
Yeah.
you can't believe everything you can see. You know, it's like my dad, he gets texts and he said, oh, if you text me now, you'll win like $1 million. Or if you know, I'm like from TD Bank or Royal Bank, one of the Canadian banks, and, you know, we have something to give you, or, you know, this is a real thing, you know,
So
like,
just to be clear to the
yeah.
audience, in case
So
they haven't caught on yet, we both know and think that this is basically a scam. It's not true. There's none of that is true. Hermes bags made in China, especially. We can talk about the other brands later, but like the several videos that we see on TikTok or on YouTube, Instagram, because there's more than one at this point. There's so many of them, maybe different little companies that claim that Hermes bags are in fact made in their factory and that you're just buying a made in China bag is total nonsense
yeah,
because
there
it's not.
are lot of counterfeit bags. So I even know girls who buy them, and I'm not judging them, because this
Mhm.
is their decision, this is their choice. So I know several girls that carry the fake Lindy 26. I also had an a girlfriend that carries a fake Kelly 25. Um, they're well done. Okay. So from far away, or even the Chanel bags, they've been counterfeited even longer than Hermes bags. So the counterfeits are even better, right? So if you were to take an Instagram photo, if you were to watch it from like 10 feet away, maybe you cannot tell. But as soon as you touch it, feel it, smell it, you know it's a fake.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it just, if you have touched the real bag and you know the real bag, you'll be able to tell that is a fake bag.
Mhm.
If you have never used luxury, you've never touched the real thing, you don't really understand it, you just saw pictures in a magazine and you went and bought it, you might they say this is real. But for people who actually use the real thing, they definitely know, you
Mhm.
know. And even my ex SA at Chanel, she's had people come in with counterfeit bags
Mm.
saying they were real, and as soon as they held it, they knew straight away it was fake. So there is a lot of good counterfeits, but it's definitely not the real thing, because it's cheap for a reason. Like they
Yeah.
cheaped out somewhere. You know, the leather, the hardware, the stitching, the stamping, they cheaped out somewhere. So you can always tell. Yeah.
So you especially have been buying luxury for so long. Of course, we didn't all start off at Hermes, but we've been buying a lot of luxury bags, ready to wear, shoes, accessories. Me personally, I would say around 2013 13, I started buying my first luxury bags from LV and then
Oh,
Chanel and
okay.
then, you
I
know
thought you were earlier than that. I've been
no,
watching you for so long.
no, because so I started oh, no, wait, you know what? I remember correctly. 2013 would be for Chanel, I think. So LV would be 2007. You're right, you're right. So, oh my
Mm.
gosh, totally can't lose track of time, but, regardless,
Yeah,
so
20
both of
years
us have been buying
almost.
a lot for a while now. But for any newcomers or for anybody who is still new to luxury, maybe they own a couple items, but they're
Mm.
still, considered newbies. They can be, uh, relatively easier to influence, not just from the
Oh,
buying perspective, but also just seeing these kinds of very viral and sensational videos that claim to be certain truth, right? Um, so how do you think this whole trend, again, this whole made in China
oh my
trend.
goodness. I'm really fearful for that generation of people
Mhm.
because they they didn't grow up looking at touching and feeling the stuff and researching the stuff to know what's real and fake. A lot of it is based on what anyone can post online.
Yeah,
And when we grew up, anything you saw on media was done by professionals. So it's like a reporter, they were licensed, they
yeah,
were trained, they were educated. But these days, anyone can post on social media, and you
yes.
can even use AI to pretend you're someone or somewhere, and you can just create a website and say, I'm a billionaire and I have this fancy lifestyle and I have billions of these bags, and post. And the scary thing is that from this incident, what I realized is that people are not really putting thought into what they see online. They're not going further. They're not taking the extra step to research, hey, is this real? Where is the source? Can I be able to back up what I see online? They just immediately assume that that's the real thing. And that's really scary because, as you and I know, there's so many scammers in this world. So if
Mhm.
someone wanted to scam you, they could just do it by releasing a TikTok video, an Instagram post. Um, so for younger people or people who are on the internet a lot, I think it's really prudent for you to do more research. Like these luxury items, you can go to the shop, the physical shops are still close by, or get things double checked, triple checked, and authenticated. Um, yeah, so I think it's a tough time for younger buyers because how do you know if what you're seeing is authentic other than what's coming from the official site, right? You have to be so careful. I mean, even I've heard of people like buying, like, say, a Prada bag from the department store, and maybe someone had bought the real one and returned the fake one, and then they ended up buying the fake one. Stuff like that. I don't know. What do
I
you think,
know
Amy?
it's hard because like, obviously, I think, speaking for myself, I've always been a very cautious individual. I mean, I think it comes through my videos, my reviews as well. I'm not very risk-taking when it comes to buying pre-loved, even though I have nothing against the pre-loved market. Obviously, the pre-loved market in the Canada, right? At least like in here where I live most of my life is not very strong compared to Asia. So that alone is already a layer of like the accessibility is just not the same. Therefore, I've always been nervous about buying pre-loved. And one of the
Mm,
reasons is because especially if I'm not already not comfortable with not knowing if the bag that I'm gonna end up getting is real or not, I'm just not willing to take that kind of risk. So I feel
yeah.
like as even if I was maybe starting now, like a luxury journey now, curating a collection now, I would probably do the same thing, which is to buy from the store. directly from the
Mm,
boutique and buying it myself, looking through the bag myself, trying it on and handling it myself
yeah.
rather than trusting. I mean, that's the thing. It's hard because I don't want to say don't buy from the pre-love market because obviously I have bought from the pre-love market too. But I think when it comes to especially Hermes or even Chanel these days, because the price tag is very high. When it comes to these kinds of price ranges, 8,000 to 10,000 plus, it would be such a heartbreak to find out only later that you're holding an inauthentic bag, right? So that would
Yeah.
be not only traumatic, but just like, what do you do at that point? I mean, maybe you have some recourse if the company is trustworthy and they will refund or guarantee authenticity. But even then, it's just not something you want to really go through if you're newer in the luxury
Yeah. You
market.
have to be, I agree with that. You have to be so careful that you're going through a very reputable company. Because I mean, their authentication is only as good as they say it is. And some companies are better than others. But
Mhm.
I still think that if you can actually feel the real thing, see the real thing, touch it, that's always kind of the best policy so that, yeah, or even get friends to have a look at it for you or
Yeah.
get the authentication done because otherwise, for without like bags these days are not cheap, right? I think at least what, 3,000,
Well, for
minimum
the lower range, actually,
for the lower range.
I have a story to share in regards to that similar kind of experience. So one of my family members, I'm not gonna name who, um, uh, like I said, I got into LV first, right? So I had a good relationship with my SA at the time, and I was getting some of my husband's wallets repaired. He buys LV like very sporadically, at least at the time, right? He buys like small leather goods, a belt here, a wallet there. It's not like a constant thing. So every time it's a different SA, but he doesn't have any relationship. So I have been able to bring some of his stuff to get it repaired, and they, at least LV at the time, they were very generous with their repair policy, and they did it if you had like a good relationship with an SA. So one time a relative asked me to bring a bag to get the clasp fixed because it won't open. It's one of those S locks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was actually the hobo version of the pochette métisse. So it's not the pochette métisse, but it's the
Oh,
hobo version.
okay.
Remember, there was a hobo version back
Yeah,
then? And
very
I was
popular.
looking at the bag before I brought it in even, right? I was just looking at it, and I'm like, something is off about it. And then I really like I didn't want to say anything because like I just started suspecting that it was not a real LV. I had to look through everything, like the code, like just the seam, all the details, right?
Yes.
And
Which you would only know if you use real LV.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so there was just a little bit off everywhere, but like just for me to be sure, because I already owned a Pochette Métis, so I have the S lock. And I put the S lock right beside that S lock, and I'm like, they're not the same. It's just a little off. And the reason why it cannot open is because it's not even real, right? So I unfortunately had to inform the relative that I'm so sorry, I can't help you because if I brought that in, they're gonna think I bought a fake bag, and that wouldn't be very good.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
so in the
and
end,
I don't know if you were in Europe, you could even go to jail for that.
yes,
I don't know what
for
they would
sure.
do, like, yeah, go ahead, buy those things, but you can never travel to Europe with them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
anyways.
I tried to find out where they even got it, right? Because I knew they don't buy like this individual doesn't buy fake things either. It's not like they can't afford the real thing. So allegedly that bag was gifted from a friend. So where that friend got
Um,
it from and why this generous gift, seemingly
oh,
generous gift, right? So anyway, I didn't want to ask any details, but it's one of those things. It's such a naive, not even their fault kind of situation, right? Like they always thought that they were carrying this nice hobo, because I actually saw that person carry it a few times myself, but I was always afar, like not super close to it. But once I had it in my hands and I was like, okay, I'm comparing the S lock, comparing the print, comparing everything
Mm.
literally.
Yeah.
And it was really like, it was really good from even close up, but like once it's right in your hands and you can touch it and feel it, then you can really tell that it's not. So yeah, there are different grades of the just like the grades of quality, even for fakes.
Yeah. And I think it's also the intention of why people want to buy this. Because like these bags, like, you know, like a Kelly is easily like $10,000. Can you imagine
Yeah.
if your husband proposed to you and said, "Oh, here's my like 2 carat diamond, and you know, it's made in like some factory anywhere in the world, right? And also from South Africa, and mine nearby." And then you realize it's fake. Like, can you imagine?
Heartbreaking.
Then can
No.
you really just say, "Oh, it's the same, it's also made yada yada, it just looks real, but it's not the real thing." It's I would be
Okay.
so mad. And if someone did that, like, to my girlfriend, like, they
Yeah.
got proposed to with, like, a fake diamond, and they told them it's a real one, and they showed off their diamond, like, I'd be like, "Oh, just dump the guy, man." So, yeah, yes, that's the issue I have, like, it's, I don't really, the deeper question is, w why yeah, why you want to deceive people as a business too.
Mhm.
Would you want to deal with a business that is known to make fake and illegal things too, right? um yeah, it's just, yeah.
So I've tackled this topic in my recent Q&A. It was just last one, I think. I think. Someone asked me that towards the end of it, and I kind of touched on the fact that, you know what, this whole TikTok viral exposing whatever trend is definitely not true. I mean, a lot of people believed it. I said in the video that I said even if it's part of it is true, maybe there's components of it that is made in China. Like I would not believe Hermès could ever do that because it's not only unethical, but it's just it just doesn't even like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
But it
it's
also
illegal.
yes, but it
It's
also brings up
illegal.
the fact that, now there's a connotation, right? Like, there's still a belief, at least till this day, that anything made in China is low quality, where in
Mm,
fact you're looking at your iPhone, which is high quality, your laptop, which is super high quality. These are intricate
mm,
parts that very skillful hands, and I was describing this because I was just listening to a podcast that was talking about that. And why do a lot of these American companies or international companies outsource the manufacturing to China when they could maybe easily try to make it in their own country? It's not just a cost issue. In fact, made in China or making things manufacturing in China is not that inexpensive anymore. It's the
no, it's not
skill
that
and the
cheap anymore.
labor quality.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they like you want to do that at a large scale because obviously if it's a major international company like Apple, well, they sell a lot of units of iPhones and laptops and everything, right? So not only is the scale needs to be powerful, but they actually have very skillful hands, and not just hands, but like the manufacturing process, like the whole pipeline is so
Yes.
streamlined to be able to do these things. So
Yeah.
anyway, this question that I have for you is made in China still synonymous with low quality as of this as of today? And are we witnessing a
Mm.
shift in how luxury production is perceived? I guess maybe for
Yeah.
laptops and iPhones, it's a different story, but like
Mm.
again, we are talking about luxury here, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I think like any other country that has like gone through the cultural or industrial revolution, there's like a phase where you get better and better. I mean, even the things that used to be made in Japan or Korea, I mean, the first things that came out of Japan were really crap. And now everybody wants like a
Yeah.
Sony or a Panasonic. Same with Korea. A lot of the stuff that initially came out from Samsung was not that great, but now like
Mhm.
everyone has like a TV or a washer dryer from
Yeah,
them. So
LG had problems at the beginning too. Yeah.
yeah, and they still do, but I mean,
Yeah.
they're improving. So, and I think for China, it's the same. They're still going through like growing pains. So some industries are better than others. So they pretty much mastered the whole iPhone thing, right? Because I mean, they're trying to move the production to other countries, and they're realizing, oh, they don't really have the equivalent skill
Yeah.
or the resources to make them at the same level of production and quality, right? So I think because the population and the landmass is so big in China, I think there are pockets of places where things are made very high quality, um, possibly even better quality than Western countries. But you still also have like so many manufacturers. You're always going to have manufacturers that are creating things that are lower quality, right?
Mhm.
Um, if you look at like a lot of the technological equipment, I mean, if you look at like for example drones, they're all made in China now, right? A lot of those drones, um and they're very good quality. I haven't seen them make equivalent quality for the same price in North America. So, I think that depending on what you're looking at, and if it's been manufactured and the quality control is good, it still can be very good quality, but it's not for everything.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And, there are a lot of bags right now that are made in China that are non-branded. I just had lunch with a girlfriend. She had a bag that was using um supposedly using Italian leather. Okay, I don't know if it's really Italian leather, but made in China. It was very well made. Like without looking at the label, it looked like a very high quality bag. She bought it for $500. And it
Mm.
was just kind of like a crossbody, kind of like a Constance or like a kind of like the Celine box type of bag, and it was
Mhm.
very high quality. So I think that China does make very good quality things. They also make a lot of dupes, which I don't agree with because it's illegal, obviously. um, but the shift in how luxury production is perceived. Um, I don't know. There are still people who still prefer to have like a European label. I
Yeah.
mean, even Chinese people, given the choice, they actually prefer to buy European labels things, which is why you see all these Chinese tourists lined up in front of Montclair, Hermes, Chanel, buying overseas. I mean, if the luxury branded things were so great in China, they could just, walk down the street and buy it from Factory Joe or whatever. But they're not. They're all lined up and like, you know, well, not so much anymore, but they're all lined up in Paris, in France, in Italy, or even in Canada, they're all lined up at Canada Goose, and it's because they know that some of the items, the quality are not well made in China, and they prefer having that European label. And just for your information, like things in China are not very well regulated. Some are better regulated than others, but it's still got a long way to go. I mean, it's still improving because it's got growing pains, but like the regulation and standards um, are not as strict as they are in the Western world. But of course, like say if like Calvin Klein like go there and they make clothing and underwear. I have a girlfriend who works for Calvin Klein. Like everything is like really monitored.
Mhm.
Um, and they give them only like say say they expect them to make like 20 jogging pants, they will only give them enough fabric to make 20 jogging pants.
Yeah.
So the story about, oh, I can get, some designer wear from a Chinese factory, I don't think that's true, because
Mhm.
this girl, friend of mine, she worked for like Polo, Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein. If there is fabric missing, or their buttons missing, like that factory can get into trouble.
Mm.
So maybe in the early days, you could go there and maybe sneak like a couple of pair of like leggings and stuff like that. But it's like really strict now. So, you know, um, not every factory is highly regulated with contracts and everything. But the ones that are like designer name brand, definitely, like if like couple pants went missing, they would get in trouble, or they would cancel the contracts if they found out they took their Lululemon leggings and like were selling them on Canal
Yeah.
Street or something, like in China on like some back alley kind of situation, right? And given how bad the economy is now, I don't think anybody would want to risk losing business. Seriously, like people are losing their homes, they're losing their jobs. Even government workers are not getting their salary. People working in the banks are bankrupt. Like I think like something like 200 banks went bankrupt and people can't get their money out. Like the economy is not that great. So for someone to claim that they're making Hermes bags so publicly on TikTok, would they want to risk like $1 billion business,
Mhm.
if they're already like falling into poverty? Yeah.
I can second your claim about your friend working at Ralph Lauren and Polo, Calvin Klein, because so
Mm,
my aunt who lives in Hong Kong, I have three aunts, right? My mom has three sisters. My eldest aunt, they all live in Hong Kong, but my eldest aunt has always worked in China. She just travels between China and Hong Kong. So I know that my cousins didn't always see her because she was always just coming home whenever it's I don't even think she comes home every weekend. She had a very high level job, like like supervisory managerial, and she worked at a clothing factory. Like you said, she
mm.
started from the bottom up, but like
Yeah.
she basically earned her her position, and she was describing how so I don't really know which company she worked for, but like you said, any um, high label or well-known label. So I'm sure it was one of the well-known labels. She said that they sell it here. Um, they were so strict with not only the standard of the quality, so they make the product and then it's not like they make all the, let's say they contract for 1,000 unit, right? 1,000
Yeah.
tops, whatever. It's not like they'll make it and then the company will automatically accept it. In fact, they nitpick at the most ridiculous defects, right? Or quality workmanship. They
Yeah.
nitpick at such little things that um, sometimes it's almost ridiculous. Like it's at a level that they almost get exploited. So a lot of times, apparently, a lot of times the company, the warehouse making these products, they end up either breaking even, not making much profit, or sometimes they even make a
Mm.
loss because companies like Lululemon, I'm not saying it's Lululemon, but like companies that, have some sort of ethical standards, they don't just take any product. And so she knows that, and she was telling the story about it. And it's not just one company, it's her lifetime of working there. And hi,
Hi,
let me finish
Kat.
my thought. So it's a lot of hard work. So she was describing how like how the things we view in the Western world is not how it really is happening in the Eastern side of things. Like they go through a lot of rigorous processes as well. It just depends on which company you're talking about. Because obviously, an ethical company or a company with high standards will not just accept any, even like a little thread coming off, like they'll just not accept. So it's so true. It just depends on which label it is coming from that they're
Oh,
sourcing.
yeah.
from China. Yeah.
And even my friends working in these designer labels, like none of them are gonna be like they're not even on TikTok, but they're not even gonna be like saying to me as a close friend, "Hey, you want to come by and just grab a pair of leggings?" It's like the same thing as the real thing, you know? It's
Yeah.
like, you know, they need to properly either destroy the item or they do it through a friends and family sale. It's not like someone can just go on TikTok and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, you can actually buy the real thing from me. You know, we're the factory that makes this." So, hi,
Hey,
Kat. We're
Kat, are
talking
you?
about China quality.
Hi. I'm not
Hi.
sure if
Having fun?
yeah, we are in the car. Hi,
Hi.
everyone. We just finished our color analysis here in Korea,
Oh.
and got quite a like it's very interesting information.
Oh man.
For one is I'm supposed to be a pale girly.
Pale girly.
That
Okay.
means certain colors they make me look better. I'll share with you, but like sort of like I'm an autumn muted
Ah.
A
colors.
muted autumn.
Yeah. So it's all these it's not pastel, but it's like I'm Ito.
Oh, you know what? I'm the opposite. I'm like probably like very different. So someone commented on my video because I was describing why the etude color doesn't work for me for the mini Lindy, and then there were so many people that actually said they feel the same way as me, like kind of olive but very fair, and
Mm.
they were saying that I may be a cool winter.
Yeah.
That maybe
So
that's
you
kind of,
have to do it. Actually, like it's really hard. Like
yeah.
the colors that I one of the colors that are my worst colors are the colors that I
Mhm.
wear very often. And
Oh,
Really?
really?
yeah, so like certain bright greens and like magenta, like a bright pink,
Do
it
you agree?
happened to be not my color. She's
Do
like
you agree
they
though?
are. I like them, but it's apparently, they bring out too much red in my skin. So
Oh.
Hmm.
there are some things you'll be
Interesting.
surprised by. It's not like we think it's good, right? I was like, I thought these are good colors for me because they are quite, they brighten my skin. But she's like, they're too harsh.
So
Oh.
does
Mind
that change
blown.
your mind on
Yeah,
green?
blind blown. And then like between black and white, also there's a color for you. Like I cannot, like she's not saying I cannot wear white, but black is actually better than white, and I have a lot of white. So if I had to pick between black and white, go for black. But even for black, is not black. You shouldn't be wearing black.
I don't know. I would
Um,
get like a second analysis just to double check
Yeah.
that.
We can do one tomorrow at the hair salon.
I mean, we could, but
Yeah.
so then what else? Certain jewelry. So it's also did jewelry, a little bit of makeup. But makeup, I think it's also the style here because you're doing a Korean.
yeah.
So it's the
Korean
style
style
of the
makeup.
makeup is also. And what else? I like lip. This is my lip color apparently. So I don't know. Cannot really see that. But yeah, I think
Mm,
it's a good experience.
But did
What
you ask
else?
the question, what if you get tan? Because like, well, I don't know if you, because for
Ah,
me, like here in Canada in the winter, I'm really pale. And then in the summer, if I go on vacation and I go in the sun a bit more, then I can get a bit more tan.
yeah.
Does that
She said
change?
doesn't really unless you're like so like your shades and shades darker. But she's more of like say how the color reflects against like because she's
Mm,
not reflecting. Hold the internet. She's not reflecting on the whole face. It's just how it reflects on under chin here, around here, how it reflects on your face. But it's about the color, like what makes you more pale, what makes you more red. Like for Joe and Eileen, their worst colors is not about how they make them look more red. Their worst colors are more of make them look pale.
right.
My
That's
worst color
me
is nothing
too.
to do with pale. Mine is about
Oh,
redness.
yeah.
Yeah. And then
That-
so for me, when I saw that what's my best color, I said, yeah, I don't know what are my best colors your
My second.
show. I'll show
let's
you. We'll
see.
show you.
What's your
These
best
are my
color?
best colors, okay? I'm like, what? I never go to the rack. I never. They are not my colors at all. My best color is their second best. Okay, open. Like these kind of colors.
Oh, like the light blue,
No,
light
no, I
blue.
don't.
Interesting. And then like
No, I
They're autumn milk.
refund. I don't think so.
Yeah.
that's
I can
interesting.
sort of get it. Like this, you have to see the photo and then you have to see how the color reflects on the skin. It's not about the color itself, it's how it sort of just makes your face look different, like fresher, brighter, more for me it's not about suddenly become more vivid. It's sort of like it just makes you more, I don't know, like alive, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, alive.
Yeah.
But
I always
Okay,
say
so
that
this is my second best is Joe and Eileen's best.
which I
Okay, let's
hate
see.
Like no.
No, I don't
Yeah,
like those
so what-
colors. Too dark,
Okay,
lah.
second best is what I'm wearing today.
We are all wearing our second best colors today.
This is my
So,
second
so
best color.
you look good in green. I
Yeah.
think you look good in green. I can't
not
see
about
what
green,
Eileen
it's
and Joe
the
are wearing,
tone.
but yeah, I can't see you in those best colors. Seriously.
I know, which is why same for Eileen and Joe.
Yeah.
They don't. Eileen and Joe is saying that their best colors is not what they wear. But when I'm looking at the best colors, I said they look good.
I don't know. Is it a case of foreigners getting scammed in Korea?
Anyway, so it's just like, okay, let's see, right? So I think I don't know, like how do you buy these colors? Like how do you I don't know. Like yesterday, what the handbook is what yesterday, right? Did I post my handbook picture? I
The
didn't
day
post,
before.
but I didn't post any lah.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
posted.
that pink that I was wearing on the handbook is my color,
posted.
but a softer version would be better.
You'll have
Can you
to
imagine
repost
cat in the
it.
soft colors? Like not
I
the
know, it's a
style, right?
personality thing,
Yeah.
maybe. Maybe it's a personality thing that for me, secondary colors suit me. Like I feel more comfortable mentally in my secondary color, which is this kind of richer color.
Yep.
But what looks actually better on me would be the soft, the this kind of tone, but the softer muted one. Okay, quite
I don't
interesting.
know. I don't know.
I
lah.
think
You'll have to get
if
a
any of
second
you are in
one done.
Korea or wherever, go do a color analysis.
I'm not going to that place where you go.
Oh, and jewelry as well, right? So
Jewelry.
all of us are warm tone and we look good in gold and rose
Rose
gold,
gold.
thank goodness. Silver, not for us, but okay if you wear silver rings on your hands because they're far away. But silver necklaces, because of the high contrast, it doesn't look good.
Really?
So white gold is not, she's not saying you shouldn't wear it. It's just that it contrasts differently from your skin tone. It just makes you, it's maybe harsh or something. And then what else did she say? Hair color as well. Oh my gosh.
The hair color.
Yeah. So because I am not supposed to be high contrast, I'm medium contrast. So actually black hair is not good for me. I need a little bit softer brown, a little darker brown.
Mind blown.
You are black, right? No, you are okay with black.
I'm okay.
She's
with that. I
okay
don't
with-
like that.
Yeah, she's okay with, she looks good with black hair, but because she doesn't like black hair, then she goes dark brown a bit.
Yeah.
Yours is what?
My entire hair color is wrong.
Yeah, her Joe's
Yeah,
entire
Joe's
hair color is wrong. It brings her skin tone down. You need to be more red.
Oh, but Joe's hair is a bit more. She's always had colored hair
Ashy,
anyway.
ashy. Show your hair.
Oh,
the
but
hair.
it's too. Is it too?
light.
Too light.
Too light now. Okay.
Light.
So it
I
should be
don't know.
darker.
I don't know.
Burgundy.
Burgundy.
I don't know. I don't know. Okay.
Okay, and then what else did she tell us? Eye color as well.
Lip color.
Lip color.
Eye
Yeah.
color,
the
you're
lip
gonna
color,
change
I
that?
think,
Lip color. I'm very sad
for
about
me, my lip color, I need a bit more pink in it. Yeah. Or I go like a very soft beige, which is what I'm already wearing. For Eileen, it's like she needs to wear more bright because you are autumn deep, so you are supposed to have
Deep
more
colours, yeah.
richer color.
Richer colours.
Mm.
So my lip
Shocking.
color is exactly
Yeah,
correct.
Joe has her exact
Joe
lip
has
color.
exact
She got her lip
shade.
color correct.
I have the opposite. I'm gonna faint. So.
What else? Gold, so jewelry.
Eye color.
Eye color, yeah. So eye color, Joe should not wear black contact lenses.
I should not wear black.
Yeah, black contact lenses. You know, the one that makes your pupils, you know, or changes the color.
Yeah.
She even got that for us. So I can wear all the soft colors. I can look like a Korean girl, green and pastel and like
No, please
contrasting color.
don't do that. I think you might
But
scare people.
personality-wise, I wouldn't, right? It's just like, oh, what happened to you? And then,
Okay,
but
girls,
Joe
I'm not so
needs
sure.
to
This
be
place is
brown.
so like.
Brown.
But she's wearing black, so it's too high contrast on her face.
Yeah.
Too stark.
Yeah.
Can't remember already. A lot, too much. It's like information overload at the moment. But I think it's actually quite fun to do. Like then you get like, that's how they see the tone. So they keep putting all these cloths on you, multiple pieces, and then she just shows you like, okay, this color, this color, this color, and you can actually see because the light is reflecting on the color, and even let's say like green with green, she's like, this green is okay, but this is better.
It's quite accurate though.
Yeah, it's quite accurate.
Yeah.
Like you can actually, because you're sitting there, the room is white, and she's got white lights on you, so you're wearing a white cloth. So literally, she put the cloth, and then as she flips it, you can actually see how the tone hits your face. Think of like I was looking at them when they did warm and cool tone.
Yeah.
So accurate. Like she put the warm color on your face, on your neck, then she flipped to the pale. I was like, oh. No, your girls are no cool tone. You're warm, cool. That one was really accurate. Yeah, interesting. But I don't know. It's a personality thing to wear the colors, though.
Yeah.
Oh, and Joe, you cannot wear tonal.
Yeah, I have to wear high contrast.
She would not look good in tonal, meaning white top with white pants. You need for both of you, right? Must be high contrast, meaning you must break up the color. White
color.
and black pants or dark color.
Yeah.
I am medium contrast. So if I wear high contrast, it might be too vivid. But if I wear tonal, cannot. But I must wear like soft, like slightly soft contrast. I was start thinking like maybe white with this white and dark, deeper blue.
It's okay.
Medium contrast.
We'll just wear what we want.
Yeah. Could it be up to interpretation? Like if someone else did it on you, maybe they'll have a different interpretation.
Correct. Because it's also we're doing in Korea, right? So there's also a look
Korean.
that you're probably going for, like the makeup look. I was like, so boring. So that's also a preference. But anyway, enough about our color analysis. Hermès bags made in China.
You believe?
That's laughing. No way, lah.
There's no way. There's no way. None of us believe that. Plus, like, but you missed the early part of the live stream. But if you rewatch it, Clara started off by like saying that TikTok is not even like you can't even use TikTok in China. So obviously these videos they are targeted at a different audience, which is the Western world, like the rest of it, not China, right? So already the audience is a different audience. Plus, it would be illegal to make these bags in China and claim that they're made in France, right? So that already, like, there's just too many layers of non-possibility that if you just use a little bit of common sense, you would know it's not real. But like just going through the layers of explanations and also having Clara living in Hong Kong for close to 20 years, working there, buying luxury there, it just explains, you can just see the nuances that this is just not possible, and that companies that are claiming that their bags, the Hermès bags are indeed made in China, it's just more of trying to get people to buy things from their company when it's completely unethical, right? It's more just to get business.
It's just like any other scammers. They're trying to sell your mom and your dad and your auntie and your uncle to buy.
But I feel like the videos have stopped. Like on, well, not stopped, but on IG at one point, everybody, I kept seeing them, especially when you look at the recommended videos, like we're watching the reels, it was
Yeah.
as if every other video was about some factory sending something, shoes, bags, all of that. But I feel like in the past month, a week, or I don't know, time's flying too fast, but like recently, I don't see them anymore. I don't see like the China leather Tanner leather sign coming out anymore. I don't see it. I feel like it's either it suddenly stopped, or the algorithm they've done something to the algorithm that you just
It
don't see
costs
these videos floating around.
money. It costs money to push those things, lah. You know?
Fair.
Yeah.
Plus, maybe they tried it for a while, and whether it worked or not, I guess we will never know how many people actually bought into the whole thing. But like, is it sustainable? Of course not. But also, just the fact that it made a lot of people either believe or want to believe that that's the truth.
Or maybe they scammed enough people that they say, okay, we gotta change that.
I gotta stop.
No, there are a lot of people who got tricked into that, especially if you never handled or really bought much luxury. You wouldn't know any better.
That's
How would
true.
you know?
And now they're
Like people like my parents that don't buy luxury,
Gone,
they wouldn't
hidden.
know.
Right.
Yeah.
If my mom, but I don't think she would believe it because I've kind of talked to her so much about my bags, and she's kind of took her to the shops and everything. So she probably wouldn't believe it now, but like maybe back then she would see something like this and be like, "Oh, is it true?" Or maybe just question it. Here, I'm gonna show the next question that I drafted around this topic. Many luxury houses do outsource parts of their production globally, so elsewhere, not just say made in Italy, but like maybe some parts are made elsewhere. Should where a bag is made impact how we define luxury, or is it more about the craftsmanship or the brand heritage more important, according to you? Because like earlier, we were just talking about made in China, whether that's synonymous of low quality. Actually, one of the good examples is Coach. Coach used to be made in the USA. It's a USA brand, but now a lot of it, if not all of it, is made in China now. And we all know Coach quality is excellent. In fact, their leather is really good. Their craftsmanship is sometimes so much better than even like LV. I mean, it's all subjective, obviously, just depending on what we sometimes you just, if you have a defect with LV or whatever brand, and then you go and look at your Coach bag and you feel so much better that your Coach bag is still lasting. So you may have this moment of just what's the word, to feel like, oh, made in China is or my Coach bag is even better quality. So I feel like made in China is definitely not synonymous of low quality. It just depends on the brand name, where it's coming from, and whether the company's ethical and standard of quality is there.
I feel like my opinion is that the label, just the label, not talking about the quality or the craft, but the label made in China has been synonymous with like quick, lower cost, good stuff, but it's not supposed to last. I think that it's years and years and years and years of that being drilled into our minds, right? That when we see it, we think cheap. So, because there are a lot of things made in Asia, not just China, right? Indonesia, Vietnam, where else? India, Bangladesh. Actually, there's a lot, right? Even some of the Longchamp things are made in China, but we never really associate that. But so it's because the price and the word made in China it's sort of like fused together over the years. So for made in China to say, like, when we hear made in Japan, there's something that clicks in our head, like, oh, there's craftsmanship, there's skill, there's attention to detail, but that doesn't mean there's no attention to detail made in China, right? But because it's been so embedded in us, it will take a long time for it to change. Your handphones are made in China. Are they bad? No, they're not. So I'm not saying that made in China is a good. It's like luxury brands cannot have things made in China, but the story for us is gonna take a
Mm.
long time for it to shift, right? So
Yeah,
the fact
it's
that
the
some of the luxury
story.
houses make parts in China and at the end they brand it as made in wherever, we will never know. But for the whole brand to just say, okay, it's absolutely amazing, there's a lot of work to be done for the consumers as well.
We are lighting soon.
We reaching there already.
Yeah.
That's my point of view. But it's hard, right? The brand heritage, I think, has to start from the very beginning.
Yeah, I think it's gonna take a while for the perception to change. I mean, even Asians themselves prefer like European US brands where they're given a choice. It's not to say the quality is inferior, but it's gonna take some time for the perception to change. And bear in mind, I think China is really only kind of come out of poverty in the last 20 years. So it's still going through that kind of growing pains. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
So something that my aunt was also telling me, so the same aunt that I was referring to earlier, she made a really good point about how China is definitely a powerhouse when it comes to manufacturing a design that is already created, meaning their skill is in the manufacturing process, is in just replicating the item
Copy. Yeah.
many times, making it out. That's the manufacturing process, right?
Yeah.
Whereas brands or other countries, I should say, like the US or Europe, they are about the designing process. Like
Yeah.
it can be also manufacturing, but they excel at the creation and the almost like the whole artistic and just like the coming up with the product concept and the design. That's their powerhouse, that's their skill. And making it in terms of like in production, that may not be their skill because they may not even have just the manpower to do it. They can do it, but that's what China is good at. It's the manufacturing process and to just
Yes.
literally make it exactly the same every
Yeah.
time. And so I feel like for this, if we want a shift in the perception of, oh, is anything that is made in China, can we associate the word luxury to it? It's going to be a little bit hard because that's not what they are known for, right? They're known for a lot of things made in China because the design is already created. And that's why a lot of companies outsource all the manufacturing to Asia, to China, right? Because that's what they're good for. That's what they're good at doing. And they already have all the manufacturing infrastructure that is something that you cannot replicate in the rest of the world, not as grand scale as they have. Whereas the rest of the world, I think it's more about the creation of the product and innovating of the product. Even I think
Yeah.
as far as if we're talking about Japan, right? Actually, a lot of the Japanese brands, they create the design, but they are still made in China nowadays. So it's sort of like that, right? Like they're just countries that they're just great at creating the concept and the design, the prototype and everything. But the manufacturing, they still give it to China to do. So I feel like every country has its own skills, and we should just accept the fact that this is just how things are going to be. But the shifting and the customer mindset will be very hard for them to understand or maybe make that difference, in fact. But I think once you understand that, then you can accept the fact that, you know what, it can be made in China and be really good quality because the brand that made that product, they will impose that standard of quality to the manufacturing companies.
Yeah. So unless like say, for example, they came up with a luxury, like say, for example, a luxury silk brand, for example, that could be a luxury item made in China that,
Right.
because they're well known for that. Or if you wanted like a luxury tea or something like that, they'd be well known for that. But handbags, probably not so much. you know, I don't think they have the heritage and same thing as Europe. I mean, Chinese people didn't really wear handbags, right?
All right, ladies, I've got to go. I just dropped off.
Okay. Have fun.
Well, thank you. We'll talk more.
Have a
I'll
great
share more when I
time.
drop back next week.
Have a
Sounds
great
good. See you next
time.
week.
Bye,
Bye.
Joe. Bye, Eileen.
Okay, I'll just take her out because her screen is frozen.
So I wanted to, I was showing Amy. So I actually have a made in China accessory for my picotin. So obviously the picotin, this is an actual picotin that I purchased from the Hermès online website. But the only thing I don't like is that it doesn't have a shoulder strap. So I went to Taobao, which is kind of like, I don't know, the eBay or AliExpress of North
Amazon.
America.
Yeah.
And I bought this aftermarket strap, and they had like at least hundreds of storefronts that claimed that they were using Hermes leather and saying, oh, this is the same factory where we get the leathers for Hermes. You'd be getting the same thing, same quality. And so I went through quite a few of them, and I actually picked one that was slightly more expensive because I wanted one that was relatively better quality, even though knowing it's an aftermarket strap, right? And they said it was the same as the Hermes Picotin leather. So here's the strap. And they would say, oh, the color will match 100%. Okay. But when you look at this, is it 100% color match?
No, one's more warm tone, one's more cool tone.
Correct. And even if you look at the pebbles, it's different from the pebbles on the picotin. And when you feel the texture, as much as they claim that it's like the same cow skin that they use for Hermes, it's definitely more plasticky and rigid. And it does have a bit of a smell. I mean, it's not that big of a smell. There's a little bit, but it's not the same. I mean, this is made in China. Obviously, if I wore this from afar, you can't really tell, right? I mean, obviously, you own the picotin, you know the strap doesn't. But assuming they're using the same leathers, it really isn't. You can tell from the pebbles and the way the leather feels and the tactileness is like just so different. See how smushy this is. This is like very, when you feel it, like you know it's not the same thing. So no matter how much these places claim on their website that it's like same factory, same leather, same workmanship, it's not the same. And I didn't even get the cheapest strap. I got like a more expensive strap. It's not the same. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that because I actually bought this from a factory in China and had it shipped to me in Hong Kong. Yeah, so I still use it because I like having a shoulder strap for my picotin, but you know, the advertising is obviously very fake.
Well, that's the thing, right? I feel like even if they nail the tone of color, right? Because I think with the leathers, it can still, even within Hermes, it can be a little bit different from season to season, or maybe just two different bags, two different hardwares, it can have a slightly different tone. So regardless of the tone, and maybe even the pebbling, because a different cow, maybe. But just the tactileness, like you said, right? Like the tactile quality,
the
it's definitely
feeling.
not going to be the same. Like the Hermes leathers are just a whole other, like
Yeah,
it's a
you
whole other world, even
touch it.
compared to
Even Chanel bags, like when you touch the bag, like even the ones from 10 years ago when I was buying Chanel, you just touch it and you can feel right away like the leather's different. So
yeah.
for a lot of these fake bags, you know, they obviously need to cheap out somewhere if
Mhm.
you know the bag is only costing you like $100, right? I mean,
Yeah.
even to buy actual leather is going to cost you more than that, right?
Yeah.
So to create the bag, so they had to cheap out somewhere. But you know, for pictures, no one can tell.
Yeah.
Seriously, yeah.
Pictures, definitely. I feel like it's always in the very minute detail. Like sometimes it's in the glazing, sometimes it's just in the stitching is not as good.
The hardware,
Well,
the
yeah, the hardware is the big
interior.
one, actually. The hardware is usually the dead giveaway. Like on the LV example was brought up earlier, it's like the hardware was like very strange looking, right?
The
But hardware is very
zipper.
hard to replicate a really high quality, genuine product. But even just like the leather, the tumbling of the leather, like the whole process, maybe they just
Yeah.
have to like not do it as long or not do the whole process. And that just shows in the tactile feeling of the product. Not to
Yeah.
say that these third party like accessories, they're very helpful, but obviously it can never claim, I think companies or these viral videos that claim again that these handbags are indeed made in China is
And same factory, blah, blah,
yeah,
blah. No, they all advertise that, okay? They all advertise that. If I go through Taobao and you go through all the accessories, they're all gonna say made in same factory as Hermès,
yeah,
which is not the case. So
yeah,
yeah, it's just not true. And everybody knows that. Everyone,
yeah.
all my girlfriends in Hong Kong, the girls in like even in Little Red know, you know, they're all going to Europe and they're coming to Hong Kong to buy their bags, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them will buy it in China, but you know, they know the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's move to this topic that I also wanted to touch on because again, you've lived a major part of your life in Hong Kong and China. In terms of luxury standards, I know it's totally different. Like even I felt it within the 1 month I was away, the 1 month that I spent in Hong Kong in November. The difference between the Western and the Eastern luxury standard. Um, how different are they in terms of consumer values, heritage, minimalism versus maximalism or status, symbols, craftsmanship?
Mm. I definitely feel that in Asia, people are really into branded items.
Yeah.
And I think it has a lot to do with, again, a lot of local in the past. Okay, I'm not talking about now. I think the quality gap has kind of like narrowed. But in the past, anything that was made in Asia was known not to have be very good quality. So if you wanted a good quality item, there aren't that many kind of like middle of the road brands. So you'll either get something very cheap or very expensive. So then people tend to go for more the branded items because there was like a perception or the actual quality um, was different. So I think people in the Eastern world, they have a heavy emphasis on branding. There's also a lot of marketing. And also culturally, I think people are more, what did it say, more adventurous and fashion forward
Mm, yeah.
in terms of trying different things. Um, and it's very heavily influenced by Korea and Japan, which are also very like brand heavy type of countries. Whereas the Western world, I mean, people do like brands, but I feel like they kind of value more like the quality and the longevity
Practicality.
and the practicality.
Hmm.
Something I think that's worth noting though is that I think there's a company called Morningstar. They actually did a kind of like, you know how the whole diversity and inclusion thing is like the big thing on the last
Mm.
10 years, right?
Hmm.
So based on their survey, the percentage of women that are in senior management roles is much higher in the East than in the West. So there are
Mm.
actually a lot more women that are making a lot more money compared to their peers in the West because they're in more senior level roles. So I don't know if that's also another reason why you see more women buying um, these designer labels. Maybe not so much. I mean, you could be rich and you don't have to buy these things, but like it will be more prevalent that a lot of the women can afford these items. So, say for example, for me going to work, someone carrying and Kelly a Birkin is very common. Seeing Chanel on the streets is very
Yeah.
common. Like there is as much Chanel as you see Lululemon in Vancouver. It's like
Yeah.
everywhere. So yeah, I think it, you know, whether it's the right or the wrong values, this is just the environment you're in,
Yeah.
where most girls, or they're carrying like the tote bag, like the canvas bag. There are a lot of girls carrying that too, but actually there are a lot of girls who will spend money on handbags. But I would also say that in general, in the East, there are more women who are making good money in their jobs, and also more in senior level positions. And I think one of the reasons why is that they have helpers at home to help them with the kids and the cleaning. So they have
Yeah.
time, whether you agree with that or not, a lot
Yeah.
of them do have time to pursue their careers so that they can actually take up really senior roles in their companies. And a lot of them are like CEOs, CFOs. And so and they'll employ a lot of senior women. And so a lot of the women can afford and will buy like a nice designer bag, for whatever
Mhm.
reason. Yeah.
I just find the cultural difference so jarring almost because again, I I've always lived in North America, but I have origins. My parents are from Hong Kong, from very humble beginnings. So they don't really do luxury, but it's just this past year when I was in Hong Kong in November, I like just from my own experience, right? Just observing the streets wherever I went. Obviously, I went to average like nicer places, right? Like even the malls that I went to. But that's regardless. I feel like just anywhere you go, even if you go to a Thai Pai Dong, which is a very they call those the Hong Kong style cafe, like just you sit
Like the
down, it's like a
hawker
little
stalls.
pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like literally you sit down, you eat really quick and you leave. So it's not really a high-end place whatsoever, but you will still see a lot of ladies and men carry or wear a lot of luxury brands. And
Yeah.
in terms of handbags, like you said, right, I was just so shocked at I mean, let's just not even talk about Chanel. Chanel is everywhere. LV is everywhere.
Yeah.
YSL, like all the other brands. But like, I have never in the wild in Canada myself, never seen an exotic mini Kelly in the wild, someone just casually, just holding it and then just walking down the street. I have seen
Yeah.
several while I was in Hong Kong for like the one
Yeah.
month I was there.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy that the discrepancy or just like the difference culturally, how accepted it is to just owning a luxury bag, and some of them very expensive, right? Just very rare to have a crocodile mini Kelly. Okay, that's
Mm.
definitely an exception, but like just anybody is carrying a luxury bag, or
Yeah.
wearing some sort of label in Hong Kong and
Yeah.
walking
It's
around.
very, very common. It's very common. I mean, especially in the more, if you're looking at Croc, probably the more luxury or central business districts,
Right.
you will see those.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw a Croc. I went to go visit a client who was the CEO of a large European bank, and she was like on the top floor. She must have been, I don't know how old she is. She's like maybe 65. She was wearing like a mustard yellow Croc Kelly. I don't know, it was
Mhm.
like a 25 Cellier with a mustard yellow sweater. Oh my gosh. Like me and my colleagues were like gushing. We're like her, and my colleague's not even into Hermès,
Yeah.
right? But she said it was just staggering. And she's the CEO of this global European bank on the 63rd floor. And
Right.
you walk into her office, it's like a big suite, right? But like this is this is, there are a lot of successful women like that in Asia. Obviously, there are housewives and, girlfriends who get these from husbands or daughters or girlfriends or paparazzi, but like
Mm.
there are also a lot of very like successful women in the industry who can afford and buy these bags. I mean, I know a couple of senior women, both in my company and other companies, that carry a Birkin 35, and they fling it like as if it's like a fling like a grocery bag. Like she comes in and she just throws it on the floor, and it's like all bashed up, and wearing her 4-inch stiletto heels. Like some of them are Louboutins, and
Mm.
there are a lot of women like that here in Asia. Like not everyone's doing that, obviously,
Not
but
everyone,
there are
no.
women who can afford that and do that. So I guess for some, I don't know, when I think back on my own journey, and a lot of guys will buy watches, right? They'll buy
Mhm.
a Patek or a Rolex or whatever it is, Frank Mueller or whatever. But there are so many stores. Like they're like, I don't know if you count it, they're like 10 Chanel stores or
Oh
11
my gosh,
Chanel
so
stores.
many. I went to almost
So
all of them.
so within a vicinity of like a 15 to 20-minute ride, you can
Yeah,
pretty much hit like 5 or 6 Chanel
yeah,
shops. So
which is
there's
ridiculous.
just so many. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know, I might have shown a clip in one of my videos, but for me to walk to work, the path that I walk to work, I pass every major designer
Mhm.
store. Chanel
Yeah.
Chanel was just like downstairs from my building. So when I
Mhm.
had free time, I would go down there and visit the shop almost like every week.
Yeah.
Prada was downstairs. I passed by Dior, Fendi, Balenciaga, I passed by them every day. And when you go out for lunch, there's like nothing to do. So you end up also
Mhm.
seeing the same store. So those stores in Hong Kong are as common as sports stores in Western Canada. So it's no wonder if you're surrounded by that all the time that you may be tempted to buy it.
Yeah.
Like not everyone, but like you will be tempted to buy it because it's just there every day and you pass by every day.
I think for me, why it was surprising, at least, right? I want to use the word shocking, is because culturally speaking, there's a difference between everyone is carrying, okay, I'm generalizing when I say everyone is not everyone, but a lot of people are carrying high-end luxury bags or luxury labels in Hong Kong, for example. But it's also very well accepted. Like everyone would just not even bat an eye, basically, right? It's so normal to do that. Whereas speaking from my personal experience in North America, I do basically dress according to where I go and even to according to who I hang out with. Because not that it's bad in itself to own luxury items. It's not like that. But a lot of people just maybe don't understand it and they may make certain comments that make you feel uncomfortable. I mean, we get a lot of these questions here on the luxury space,
Mm,
like how do you feel about luxury judgment, et cetera, et cetera. That's
yeah.
something that you
Yeah.
only ask in like I feel like more in the Western world because even I
Mm,
feel a little bit kind of like, oh, should I wear this bag today? Like I definitely choose my occasions, where I go, where who I spend time with, which bag I bring. And it's kind of in a way, I mean, it's a little sad, but at the same time, that's the discrepancy, right? Like the difference between how culturally accepted it is in the East, whereas here
yeah.
it's just dependent on the situation.
Yeah, I never have to be concerned that I'm bringing an Hermes bag to work
Back then,
or taking a Chanel. Yeah, back then, like
yeah.
I wouldn't do it in Canada. No way. Because I think it's
Exactly, so the
also
difference is
very
there.
influenced by your surroundings.
Yeah.
Just as an example, I was in Japan, so I was wearing my Van Cleef.
Mhm.
I came back, I'm gonna take it off because I'm not gonna wear it to work because I don't, you know, I know there are people who say you just do you, who cares what other people think, but I just don't want to deal with the judgment. There are people who just like, oh, that's a nice bracelet, like, and you're just kind of like, I just don't want to deal with this because, yeah, I just don't
Yeah,
want to
because
deal with the judgment.
you don't always know if the connotation is positive, like behind it, do they mean that, oh, it's so nice, like congrats, or
Yeah, or
oh,
they
it's
go
so nice, I
gossip.
can't believe you can afford something like this, sort of like that, right?
Yeah, and then
So,
there's a conversation like, "Oh, I can't even put food on the table." Like I never, I never have these conversations in Hong Kong. I have good friends, they're like single mothers on single incomes. They can still afford to buy a Chanel. So like um I yeah, so everyone's different, and I think the overall wages in Asia are much higher and the
mm,
tax rates are lower.
yes,
And
that's true.
some of your daily goods are cheaper, like the services are cheaper, so you have a
Food,
lot more discretionary
yeah,
income to be able to do these
yeah.
things. Like the mom that I know who's a single mom with a young child, she has money left over to go to facials, go on holidays, occasionally buy a nice bag. Obviously, she's not buying Hermes because she wants to
Mhm.
make sure she has enough funds for her kids to go to college. But I find in general, yeah, wages are definitely higher in Asia, and also it's more socially acceptable. Yeah, just because, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
everywhere. Maybe we're brainwashed, I don't know, but like, yeah, it's just what you're surrounded. I was in Japan. I saw Hermes bags in many places also. Very top designer bags also, not everywhere, but but it's also very safe. It's the type of place if you left your wallet on the table, well, no one would swipe it, right?
Yeah.
But would I do that here? Probably not, because in North America, like as soon as you turned around, someone would take your wallet, right? So
Mhm.
it's a different context.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's the same idea. Like I wouldn't leave my hand. Like sometimes if I go to a nicer restaurant, I would put my wallet and my phone on the table to reserve the table, and then walk
Never
out to
do that
go
here.
find my client.
Yeah.
Um, but I would never do that here.
Yeah.
So it's different. I think it's like you need to take into account the context. But
Yeah.
definitely it's more, but for someone who's Western, they'll be like, "What's with you Asian people? Why are you all like buying like so into designer?" But if you went there, then you would see this is the culture and what it's like you're surrounded with.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it is not applicable to me, but like if there are certain more high society places you go, if you went in there with like a raggedy bag, you would get judged.
Mm. Right.
And you might not get judged here because it's very casual here. Like, it's kind of like going to a wedding and you wore like your pajamas there. It's kind of that feeling. If you're not, it doesn't have to be designer, but like it needs to be polished. I
Yeah.
mean, as an example, I had a girlfriend who also moved from Canada to Asia, and she said she was so embarrassed about her nails on her first day of work. She had to go out and get a manicure
Oh, wow.
because all the girls in the office had perfectly manicured nails,
Mm.
and she just felt really out of place. And so she had to get manicures to fit in, which is a bit kind of like, but some people might say, "Oh, that's such a waste of money. Why do you want to
Yeah.
manicure your nails?" So, it's different, depends on where you are. So she no, she doesn't get manicures anymore because she doesn't work anymore. But like when she first joined this investment bank, like all the girls were in top form. So you
Mhm.
want to prove yourself, right? So you have to fit in. So
I think that's a huge point actually, because like in terms of consumer value and even just expectation in the workforce, not to say that the expectation is low here, but it's a little different for sure. Like you said, the word casual is the right word, because I think even if you were to go to a high corporate job here, yes, you would dress polished and everything. You might even have your nails done. But I feel like that kind of standard is almost expected to the very, not lowest level, but like lower level staff, even in Hong Kong. Like just it almost feel like it's a way to fit in, not to fit in because they ask you to do, but almost like you want yourself to fit in, and you like in a way, like I feel like why luxury is so highly valued there is almost like a public image. It's just like the nails, right? It's just to feel like you fit in, and who knows, maybe others are judging you, but like for you, almost like a self pressure to fit in and to just normalize everything. And therefore, like here, like you mentioned nails, I never do my nails either. Like I feel like nails is such a, it is true, like they will not look polished next to someone who always has their nails done. In fact, I think I just sent you a picture yesterday. I was trying on some sandals and I was just appalled at my nails on my toes. But I'm like, oh, it's just Clara, it's fine. But I would not send it to just anybody, you know? It's so true. Like things like that, you get kind of embarrassed because it's more like you almost self-impose. And that's the kind of value and expectations that I feel like in Asia, it's almost like everyone has to do it just to be at the same level. All right, so let me bring up, because we only have about half hour left, bring up the questions that you guys had for us. And if you have any more, you can try to put in the chat and I'll monitor that. So let me just go grab it, download. Okay. Let's see, which one should we? Yeah, I feel like some of these questions are very specific. So almost like a, oh, here, let's start off with this one, since this one is for you, this question, Clara. Okay, from Birkin BB. She wants to know, Clara, are you still using your Kelly 25 étain? And do you think it's so comfortable to use? Oh, Clara, we can't hear you. Are you on mute? Oops. I can't hear you. Are you on mute or something? Can you guys hear Clara? Because I can't hear her. Can you guys hear Clara? I didn't change anything. Ah, we lost Clara's voice. Oh, they can't hear. They can't hear you. No, still no. No. Not yet. No. Maybe something with your connection. Because they can hear me, right? You guys can hear me, right? We lost Clara's voice. Let me think. Did you want to restart your, like maybe click off and come back? I don't know if maybe that's the reason. Sorry guys, we're doing a little bit of troubleshooting. So Clara, I'm just gonna say when we hear you, and we're gonna tell you, because right now we cannot hear you. Okay, I'll wait for Clara to come back. We'll wait for her to come back. Let's see, let's go through some of your comments. Vivi says, after I've grown up to 40 plus, I don't care much about what other people think. Yeah, it's true. Joel, how terrible, feeling bad about your nails just because everyone else is polished. I feel like it's more self-imposed. I feel like sometimes, not just in the work environment, but like sometimes even like in school or wherever, I don't know, wherever your social network is, sometimes you can feel out of place, right? I think a lot of insecurities, and everyone's different, right? It could be appearance wise, or it could be also just like social status wise. It could be materialistic. Everyone will have some insecurities, I'm sure, and it's just, I feel like in the East, it's also more common to, that's something that I definitely grew up with. Like it's, having Asian parents, like they comment a lot about looks, and it's not necessarily like they may not do it in a malicious way, not to like, let's say they say something like, "Oh, you've gained a lot of weight recently," something like that, right? Or, "I've gained some weight recently." Uh, they're making an observation, and that's just their way of conversing with you, right? Because it could be someone that cares a lot about you, but like that's the first thing they tell you when they see you. And in the Western world, when you hear something like that, it's very like, "Oh my gosh, did you just call me fat?" Right? Like it's very different culturally speaking. It's not always accepted here to say something like this, whereas in Asia, they'll call you, they'll make all these kinds of observations right off the bat. When like the first time they see you in a long time, they'll say something like that, and it'll become very like, oh, it's very hard to like, you don't know how to react, right? Like I've been told, "Oh, you're too skinny," or "You gain a little bit of, cheek fat," or whatever. Like it's just a thing that is being done. Oh, I think Clara's back. And it's not always fun because um it's just, anyway. Clara, can you say something?
Hi. Is it
Oh
working
yeah,
now?
we hear you now.
I don't know
Okay.
what happened. Somehow the mic turned off on my laptop for unknown reason. Like there was a big
Yeah,
X there. It's okay.
technical issues, it does happen. It's all good. We're
Yeah.
in the Q&A section anyway, so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So just to continue on, I don't know if you're done talking about what you're talking about.
Yeah. I was just commenting on the chat section.
So basically I've sold my Kelly 25 in the A10. Um, so the reason I sold it was because I felt I had too many Kellys. So some of you know I have the Kelly 25 in the Cellier, and I also own the mini Kelly. And after I got the Kelly 28, I thought 4 Kellys is too much. And
Mhm.
out of the four, I decided to sell the Kelly 25 in the Retourne. Um, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that bag. And um, between the 28 and the 25, I just had to make a decision whether I was going to keep the 25 or the 28. One of the reasons I sold the 25 is because I felt the color was the same as this one.
Mhm. Yeah.
And also, I wanted a more larger functional bag, which is why I kept the 28 instead of the 25. And I also wanted a gold bag. So, yeah, it's still a very good bag. Another reason why I sold it was the capacity it was okay. It was a bit small for my liking, so it depends on how much you put in it. I
Yeah.
also still find the bag dressy, even though it's retourne. So I kind of felt like
Is
it
it dressy
wasn't
because of the
casual.
size?
Yeah, so
Mm.
it wasn't the Kelly bag is a pretty like prim and proper bag. Like it's not like a very casual bag. Like the Picotin is a very casual bag. And so I felt it wasn't casual enough to be used as a casual bag, but it also wasn't dressy enough to be used as a dressy bag, kind of like your Cellier, right? So
Mm-hmm.
in the end, I kept the 28 because I feel like this can be, it can hold a bit more and it can be a bit more casual, especially if you flip out like the side of the bag.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a much bigger bag though, the 28, because the handles are longer, it's like a bigger bag. The idea at the time was that I would use this for work, which is why I stuck with the 28, which obviously I wouldn't wear this to work anymore, so. But I'm gonna still keep these bags. Like I have no intention of selling them, but the Kelly 25 Return is still a great daily bag if this suits your lifestyle. Yeah.
So since you moved back, right? You moved back to Canada, and if you could redo it, would you have kept the 25 retourné?
Ah, yeah, I might have kept it. I might
Mm.
have kept it. But I don't know in practicality if I would have really actually used it because I'm not using any of my Kelly bags right now. Like not
Mm.
even neither the 25, the 28, the mini Kelly. I can use it because I feel like it's like really close to the
Small.
body and it's
Yeah.
discreet.
Yeah.
But I feel the Kelly bag is a really dressy bag and I have to have a place to take it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't take it to Costco. I wouldn't take it
Yeah.
to like Loblaws. Yeah, and I don't take it to work. So I don't, and I don't take it to church. Like I don't know where I would bring it. So in retrospect, I think for me and my current lifestyle, probably these this one is the keeper, maybe this. Any other Kellys is probably extra for my
Mm.
lifestyle. Yeah, just
Mm.
because I'm I'm not dressed up anymore. It's so
Yeah,
casual here.
it is.
I have
It is
nowhere
very.
to go and I don't want to get judgment at work. I mean, people have told me people won't know or care, but then no.
It's
Oh,
hard. I know what you mean because if most of your time is spent at work or and the only free time you can go out is the weekend and you don't always go out on the weekend, then there's very little time to wear these bags, right? I totally get it.
yeah. Yeah. Would you get I feel if you wanted to get a return, I feel like the 25 would be better for you because you like small bags.
Yeah. I would get one only because I feel like I'm ready to have a casual Kelly. For a long time, I didn't think it was worth it because my mentality is I'm getting these bags to dress up, so I only use it if I'm really trying to, dress up and go somewhere nice, right? Otherwise, I don't really wear them. But I do think that the Kelly 25 Hotone is casual enough. And like you said, right, if the sides are open, then it just looks like a regular bag. And not everyone, at least I don't, to my knowledge, in Canada, not everyone really knows what an Hermès bag is, or at least a Retourné Kelly. Maybe it's not as recognizable as a Birkin or as a Cellier Kelly, right? It
Yeah.
does have a more casual look. So I am slowly accepting the fact that maybe I could start maybe add that to my wish list. I mean, it's not a for sure thing, right? It's just if it's meant to be. Um, but yeah. This next question by Teach Hai Hara. Which quota bag size? Which quota bag and size have you least enjoyed over time? Is it the same
Do
one?
you want to go first, Amy?
Me? Oh
Yeah, have you
goodness.
least enjoyed over time? I think you've used all your bags
I
though, to be
use all of
honest.
mine, and the thing with my collection is like I say it all the time, right? I only will probably only have one Birkin 25, and as much as I do still love it, I think I love it from the styles perspective. I just love having one in my collection. It's just a thing, right? It's just something that I'm like, I'm curating this collection. BKC is the trifecta, and I just want to have one just so that I have one, because there are days that a Kelly is not gonna make the outfit. Like sometimes the outfit is a little bit more on the cooler side, edgier side, and a Birkin seems more appropriate. And that is purely that reason. Like it's just purely from a collections point of view that I am wanting a Birkin 25 or a Birkin in general. But you know, I do favor the Kelly because I just like how it looks. I just like that it has a bigger top handle. I just love that I don't have to worry that my coat, I can just still put it on the crook of my arm. Like these practicality qualities are still very important to me. The strap, of course. And so I wouldn't say that I enjoy the least, but it's also the bag that I wouldn't necessarily get a second one of. I feel like your answer might be similar.
Okay. So my least use is my currently in my collection, my Kelly 28, but only because I only got this like a little over a year ago and I already stopped working, so I wasn't using it as much. But before that, probably I used every one of them. Huh. My Birkin 25 I sold also for people who don't know. I'm just not a fully top handle girl. I was really annoyed because I always lost an arm and I only
Yeah.
use it ever for work and I always buy coffee in the morning and I always have my phone in my hands. So I always like ran out of hands and especially if it rained, like you said, it's like forget it. So
Well,
it just annoyed me so much. Like it was like I paid so much for this and now it's just annoying me all
yeah.
day. Like why do I have to pay so much for it and have it annoying me? Like it's one thing to be careful with it, but it was actually like annoying me, right? So I'm
Yeah.
like, why do I have to pay for something that's annoying me so much? So um I do occasionally miss it, but probably not that much because yeah, it just didn't work for my lifestyle. It's just yeah, I'm a coffee drinker. My phone is in my hand all the time. It just doesn't work. Yeah, it just doesn't work.
Plus, when you were going to work with that bag before, you were taking public transit, right? It's such a
Yeah.
common thing to take the public transit in Hong Kong. It's actually better and faster. So losing an
Yeah.
arm and then carrying all your other things is very, very hard. I
It's
understand.
not practical. I feel that bag is like for if you just go point to point and then you
Mhm.
put it down and you do whatever you need to
Yeah.
do. It's not meant to be a bag that you're carrying and doing errands at the same time because you just lose an arm.
Yeah, for sure. You need a car. That's why
You need a
when I do the
car.
Birkin, I not
Yeah.
only like it's I almost don't even like using the Birkin if I'm the one driving, because I still have to be minding the road and like trying to grab things from my bag sometimes and like grabbing it out. Like I would for me to use the Birkin peacefully, I need someone to drive me. And I can put the bag on my lap. Like
Oh,
that's
so
how much.
here's the scenario. I go to the washroom, okay? And
Mhm.
even if I can hang my bag on a hook, I still need
Yeah,
to wash my hands.
right.
Do you know where I ended up putting my Birkin 25?
Between your legs?
Yeah, between my
Yeah, I would
legs.
do the same thing.
Because I didn't want to put it on next to the sink because it was
Yes,
wet.
I
And
know.
then I couldn't pull it up my arms because I had
Yeah,
to wash my hands and
yeah,
I didn't want to get soap and water. So the only other place was to put it in between my thighs and like, do that. I mean,
I
like
know.
how how like graceful is that to be carrying like a $10,000 bag in your nice suit and like to have your Birkin 25 smushed in between your thighs,
Yeah.
right? That's the only way to wash your hands. It's like ridiculous.
I wonder how many people relate, because obviously we're very precious with our bags, right? We don't want it to touch the floor or the wet surface, but like I would go that distance. I put it on between my legs. I'd rather put it between my legs.
I mean, have you had that scenario? I don't know if you've had, you must have gone to the bathroom with that bag, right? Unless you had someone
Yeah,
to
of
watch it
course.
for you.
Of no, sometimes the counter is clean enough, then I'll put it on. At the Holt Renfrew washroom when the counter is very big and I
Oh
can put
yeah,
it
if
right
you
in
have,
front of me.
yeah, I know what you're talking about, but
Yeah,
not all washrooms are
but not
nice,
the
right? Like
not
that's
the
the
full
washroom in
bucket.
Holt
Yeah,
Renfrew, but like say if you're, I don't know, anywhere else, like if you're at a
exactly.
restaurant, some washrooms
Yeah,
are pretty small in a restaurant
I
too, right?
know. I know.
Like where are you gonna put your bag and you don't want to put it on the floor?
I know.
Yeah, it's just a
Totally
bad
relate.
situation.
The next question by Virginia. Virginia Do. Okay. Hi girls. What's on your jewelry wish list? And how to be jewelry piece. That's so funny. How to be in jewelry piece. Okay, what's on your wish list and how do you get jewelry piece?
Okay. I've been collecting jewelry for a long time. I actually started off jewelry before handbags because that was my thing. Like when I wanted to buy something nice for myself, it was always jewelry first.
Yeah.
So I would say in my experience to stick with like classic items first and get your classics done. And then you get to jewelry piece when you finally realize you have so much jewelry you cannot get through all of them. That's how you get
Mm,
to jewelry piece is like you cannot, if you get 20 bracelets, say for example, like how often you going to be able to rotate that bracelet, right? Like if
mhm,
you have 20 of them, right? So in the end, after everything I've been through, I mean, I have a lot of nice pieces, but I end up wearing the same thing over and over again. And what I'm wearing is like my pendant necklace, my diamond earrings. I have one ring that I like, and then I have a tennis bracelet, right? Um, I don't have anything on my jewelry list because
mm,
I just don't have enough arms and necks and like fingers to be wearing so many things. And you have to be very careful with jewelry, kind of like handbags, because you can get sucked into a lot of like the seasonal stuff. And then
yeah,
after a while, you're like, oh, this is not. I mean, jewelry is better than handbags because you don't have like 14 seasons or how many it is, right? But there will be seasonal pieces and you can get sucked into it. And then after a couple of years, you're like, oh, I don't really like this anymore. Like, even for example, for me, the Van Cleef is like an occasional piece. I know there's
mm,
some people who really love this brand. And if you're like a really girly girl, like you'll wear this all the time. But I've kind of gone in and out of Van Cleef, kind of like Prada. It's like one of those
mm,
brands you kind of go because this is not going to go with every look, right?
right.
You have to be a certain mood or a very girly, or if you're like just a very girly girl, then all the time, then you're gonna wear this. But um I cipher in and out of stuff, but if you stick with really classic items and don't don't go for the one you want, it's like your handbags. Like if you like the 1 carat, don't buy the one that's like 20 like 0.20 carats or whatever. Like go
Mhm,
for like the bigger piece.
mhm,
That's how you get peace because I'm not gonna go for like a 2 carat diamond pendant, right? That's just too much, right? Just get what you can afford and with what you want. Yeah, it's kind of like handbags. You reach a certain point, you just sick of buying so much. But stick to
If
classics, I would say, because
yeah,
I just end up wearing all my classics all the time.
mm.
Yeah. I don't know
Yeah, I
if
think for
maybe
me, My wish list, I think everyone knows it because I mean I shared it more than one time. But my wish list currently, at least, is I actually really like the Kelly chain bracelet from Hermès. I want it in the pavé, on the lock, not the full. And that's still the one that I really want. Of course, I am also buying it because there's a reason for it. Like, I not only do I actually really like that bracelet, I've tried it. At least I tried it in the right size, in the extra small size in Hong Kong, and was really able to gauge how well it looked on me. But it will help with my next bag, right? To reach my next bag. So that's the one on my wish list. I also really like the choker. Haven't tried the choker actually. There's the thing is, like, right now, and I've always been like that. I don't think I don't go overly crazy with fine jewelry because not only is the price very high, and I don't collect jewelry the same way I collect bags. Like, for me, I want to be able to wear my jewelry almost 24/7. So like an arm stack, or adding to my arm stack, makes more sense because those are the pieces I can really leave on my arm. Anything else like earrings, necklaces, and rings, they always come out before I go to bed, or even they come out when I come home, basically, right? So I'm less likely to invest in another very, very expensive pair of statement fine jewelry earring. Like, I still love the idea of the hardware pavé version, of course. Uh, it is a wish list, but it's kind of like in a price range that I'm like, you know what? Maybe if it's a very special occasion, like a huge anniversary or like a huge milestone of some sort, then I'll get it. But it's not something that I need to get it right now. Same with necklaces and things like that. So anything that comes off for the rest of the day when I come home, I don't feel like I need to really like buy it right away, or really need to get it even. For me, it's the permanent pieces that I know I will get the most wear out of. So for me, it's jewelry piece. I don't know if it'll like. I feel like I'm at peace already with it. I still want to add things, but I'm not. I'm not constantly like mulling on the fact that I don't have it. I'm still okay with what I have right now, and it would be nice to add my next wish and add my next wish. I think because it's quite limited, and I know exactly what I want. Maybe that's. I guess that would be my answer for jewelry piece.
Yeah.
Okay, from Marley, what are your top 5 Hermes bags and colors to have in a collection? Interesting.
Well, this is very subjective. I think
Yeah.
it depends on what your color preference is. It's almost like asking what color jackets would you buy as your top 5 jackets. I think it's very dependent on, or the color of shoes. Um,
Well,
if
you
you're
like
just,
pink, right? So for
yeah,
you, what would you choose?
for me, obviously I have the classics. I don't have that many colors actually. So I have a taupe, I have black, I have gold. Um, this is gray is Green Meyer. Um, and then I also have the bubblegum pink.
Mhm.
Yeah. If it was like really boring, if I was to pick colors for me personally, and this is so personal, I would get something like either the Rose Sakura or the
Mhm.
Rose Darling pinks. I like the yellow, the canary yellow is called the Poussin. Is it Poussin?
Oh,
Yeah, the
yeah.
Jean de Poussin. So I love that color. I love those two colors. Um, I also like I can't remember the name, but there's like a red that's kind of like a red wine red. It's like a deep red.
Rouge grenat?
What?
Grenat? Like green.
No, I can't remember the name. Oh yeah, it was Rouge Grenat. I like
Okay.
Rouge Grenat.
Yeah, that one is a pretty
Uh,
red.
yeah, that's a really and then I also like Bleu Glacier,
Yeah. It's
and
almost like a gray.
agree, Pearl. So I really like the kind of pastel-y type of colors, or like a magenta red wine. I would say like I'm a pastel girl, but um I probably, like, given like if I had all the money in the world, this is what I would pick. Yeah. But I had to go for classic colors just because, yeah,
Yeah, no,
I
I
have
totally agree.
limited
I think,
funds and I want to stick to classic stuff I can wear every day.
yeah, I think it's for me when I see this question, the way I interpret it is like for me, I would choose the colors based on how much wear I can get out of them. Even though I love red a lot, I would probably still not buy a red quota bag because it's a lot of it's a lot of money to invest in a bag that will not always match all my outfits. It's as plain and simple as
So
that.
if it was a non-classic color, like if you were not allowed to choose the classic colors, what would you choose? Like, say you already had like every bag in every classic color, and now you had to go for like 5 colors. What would
Oh,
they be?
I like reds, but I also like very dark pinks. So I would go for like uh I have to see it though, but like from the Instagram world, I do like rose pourpre, and I do like magnolia depending on the leather. But I also like
Mm,
rose extreme and rose Mexico, like all of those kind of very
oh, it's like a
rich,
very hot, rich
yeah,
pink color.
hot pink. It can lean either way, like it can lean a bit more cool or it can lean a bit more warm or just more neutral. I think Rose Mexico is quite neutral. Um or even Rose the other one, Rose Extreme can, depending on the leather, can still look very
Yeah,
neutral.
yeah.
Or it could just be a very vibrant red. Like you said, like a color that I'm only buying purely for the love and passion of it. But I'm
Like
too
Rouge de
practical for that.
Coeur kind of thing? Like
Sorry?
that type of red, like Rouge de Coeur type of
Yeah,
red. Yeah, that
yeah,
one's like a really pretty bright red.
yeah. This season they have a few reds too, but I'm too practical for that, so I always stick with my neutrals. But we already found out that I don't do taupes very well, so my neutral consists of black, any white or light gray family. So very light cream, very light gray, like that leans a bit cool tone, like the one that I already have. Um, Gold, I don't mind now because I've come to love it. It was not my first choice though, but still in a very neutral family of color. Your Gris Meyer is a very nice color. I think grays just work very well for my complexion, and that's it. It's quite easy and quite boring in a way, but that's just the colors that I will enjoy. I know I can wear. The 5 quota bags, I think for me would be Mini Kelly, Kelly 25 Cellier, Kenny 25 Retourné, Birkin 25, Constance 18. That's it.
Oh, if I was only allowed 5 quarter bags, if I could do this again, um, Kelly 25 Cellier for sure. I'm not a Birkin girl. Strange thing is I don't appreciate the quota bags as much. Okay, let's say I
Yeah.
was forced to take 5, okay? Probably the Mini Kelly. Um, I would do a Kelly return. I don't know, 25 or 28. Probably 25 is a bit more day to day, but I don't mind having the 28. And then 2 more, probably a Constance 18 and maybe the 124. I don't
Mm.
have the 124, but
Mm.
yeah, maybe that. Yeah. I mean, I wanted to say Kelly Pochette, but like, where am I gonna go with a Kelly Pochette?
I want that too, but we can't get that in Vancouver, so never mind.
Um, Yeah, because the problem is that the quota bag is confined to Birkins,
Yeah,
Kellys, and in
yeah.
some countries, Constance, right? But
Mhm,
um, I'm not like I already sold all my Birkins, and then
mhm.
Kelly's I'm not reaching for much. Constance not even regularly. Like I have dim sum with like some aunties tomorrow, and I'm like thinking, oh, should I bring my Constance? Anyways.
Actually, this is a question. We'll do rapid fire because I know we're at the 2-hour mark. Clara, I love how you use your bags. Do you still have your box constants?
Oh my God, you would have to take that from my dying hands.
So otherwise, yes.
Yeah, I really appreciate the heritage leathers because they're more natural. Is that the word to use? They're more natural. They're a bit more picky, but they're like a very hardy, robust type of leather. Yeah, and the shine is like gorgeous, right?
Mhm,
So the box 18, and I would say my 25 Cellier and Chev, you would probably
mm,
have to root like, yeah, too special. And I think the reason why they're special is because of the leather.
mhm. I
Yeah,
totally agree.
yeah.
Okay,
Color is the most important. The leather is makes a difference.
color and leather, yeah. Okay, rapid fire. Pearl Peony, your thoughts on the Constance 24 as a day bag, a Kelly Pochette as an event bag, garden party as a work bag? Well, that's 3 question in one, but okay. I think I agree with all of those.
Mm, okay. Constance 24 is a day bag is fine if you don't mind the big H.
Yeah.
If it bothers you. For me, it depends on where I'm going. Like I would, have to be somewhere where it's accepted, but it's still pretty good. Kelly Pochette, I always need a shoulder strap as an option, but that's
Mm,
still a great in event gag. 36, yeah, I just can't deal with bags with no shoulder straps
mm,
for a big tote bag unless like I'm driving. Yeah.
right.
But
Actually,
it's
that's a good
still a
point.
great work bag. I like for me, work bags have to be functional because yeah, I just don't want to have a short like yeah. It just has to be functional and I need the shoulder strap. Yeah.
I think,
But these
yeah,
are
it's
great
true.
choices.
I was just thinking size-wise that they are all fine, but I always said in the past that for work, I never consider a luxury bag to be work bag unless you're okay with that because it's never functional enough to fit your laptop, your file, and whatever miscellaneous you have. It's just too fussy that way. But size-wise, I think they're all great. And then her last
Yeah.
question, your thoughts on a mini bolide versus the 25 as travel bag,
Mm,
airport and destination?
mm. For me, the Bolide Mini is almost like a wallet on chain to me, kind of size. So I would only use the Bolide Mini as a complement to a bigger bag, because if you're traveling, you likely may need some other larger bags to carry other stuff. So you would only use your mini Bolide for like, say, your phone, your passport, and your keys and wallet or whatever. Whereas the 25, I feel you can fit a bit more into it. But to be honest, the 25 is not my first choice for travel. Like I've seen Jessie taking the bubble gum to Japan and it fits a bit more. But yeah. But yeah, usually I'm carrying a backpack or like a huge
Mhm,
tote as a second bag. The 25 to me is more kind of like a going out bag more than a travel bag. The
mhm.
mini might be okay though, because it's almost like a wallet on chain.
Yeah, I have to agree because, myself, I just have a preference for bringing tiny bags when I travel, luxury bags. Luxury bags, I bring tiny bags because those are kind of, like, small enough that I can just wear crossbody and just be on the go. I'll double bag, but it feels small, it feels secure. I just have my most essential in it, and it looks cute, right? It's the whole point of having a luxury bag is to almost just the styling portion of your outfit. Um, but functional wise, I think for me, I just care too much about babying the bag while also traveling and minding the whole like security and going places, transit. I just don't have enough mental capacity to do both. So I'd rather not bring the bigger sizes bag. Plus, I tend to, if I'm going through the airport, I usually tend to just store everything in my luggage because I don't want to even have to worry about scratching my bag while having it on crossbody, even if it's very tiny. Just put everything in the, who cares when you're traveling, right? You're on the plane most of the time. And so I just leave it stored properly in the luggage and carry-on luggage, that is. But yeah. Well, Clara, we made it. It was so great to have you back on the
Oh,
Luxury Live
thank
Show.
you. Thank you
You
for
always
inviting
provide a
me.
very fresh and intelligent and sophisticated point of view. And especially with this today's topic, it's so
Yeah,
much
thank you
more
for
relevant.
inviting me. I just haven't had time to do a video, but I feel like I'm very qualified to answer this question because I was living there. Like I'm
Yeah, you
not
are.
someone just commenting like I've been to China many times. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And at the end of the day, right, you believe what you believe. But for me, every time, like when that viral video, those viral videos were going on, I was just like, whatever. I just scroll through. I'm like, I don't even want to watch the content. I don't need to know what they're saying because I'm just like, this is so irrelevant.
No,
It's so not true.
same here. It's like when I
But
get
it's just
spam in my email, I don't even
yeah.
talk about it, delete. It's so obvious it's fake, right? But yeah, I'm just so surprised that there are people who made such a big thing out of it. And yeah, they don't realize they've been, you know, usually people who have been scammed are like, you think about elderly people or your
Mm,
parents who are not
yeah,
tech savvy. I'm like, wow, people just believe everything they see or want to see. Yeah, but
yeah.
maybe that's the way of the world these days. People just believe what they want to believe.
Well, it's becoming more dangerous, right, with AI and just the fact that everybody can post information, content, whatever. Like you can create a website and just put all kinds of stuff on it that may not be true, and
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
not.
you can say I'm like the queen of like some strange country and, do it all AI. Scary.
Anyway, I will let you go because it's late. I hope everyone enjoyed today's live stream. And please, everyone, subscribe to Clara. Her channel is linked in the show notes already. And yeah, hope to have you back again. Well, pretty soon, I'm sure we'll invite you back. You're so close by anyway. And we're on the same time zone
Okay.
finally. But okay, well,
Yeah.
thank you, Clara. And bye,
Thank you,
everyone. We'll see you next
Amy.
week.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.